Hello and welcome to Happy Hour again, coming to you today from the beautiful social distancing home studios located in Ventura and Camarillo, California.
All right, welcome to Happy Hour again. This is your host, Jason Hendrick, along with my co-host, Curtis Taylor and Joby Yobi. Tonight, we are celebrating our 50th show. It may not seem a lot to some people, but damn, does it feel like a lot to us. Big 5-0 tonight. We got Curtis in high def as usual, the maestro and the producer. And then we got Mr. Joby in an undisclosed location. We are just talking off camera about what that may mean or what the weekend entailed. So, Joby, sticking with undisclosed theme.
Super low definition. Super low. By the way, I would like to say that our 50th show is a milestone because it took so long to get to 50 shows, right? We talked about this. And so I think
it's great though, because
there's like special asterisk, like it took us so long.
Yeah, special asterisks. And I would say that we just extended our 50s as long as we could. You know, some people are like, oh man, feels like the years went by so fast. We took our time with those.
Right. It did not go by so fast.
we were actually
it kind of did. If you think about it,
Curtis, we were talking about how refreshed you look at 50, even though it's not 50 of your age, but 50 shows. You look super refreshed, having come off a little weekend getaway.
I tried my darndest to rest up over last week. It was pretty easy to do because while we were in Morro Bay and doing some very low-key tourist things, it was just like being self-quarantined in a new house. So we had that going.
Curtis has now quarantined across several. Well, no, two states and 3 cities, right? Or
that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Normally, Joby, that would make me nervous. But he has left himself in a wake of sanitation, so I'm not too concerned about his cleaning prowess.
I think by definition, moving quarantine areas means you're out of quarantine, but it's okay, Curtis. We're on your side.
I believe that's probably there's some truth to that. Definitely, we did our best to re-clean the house, the Airbnb that we rented, and then just like life everywhere else, when we were in Morro Bay, we were there in the midweek, so there was very few people there anyway. But my wife and I, we run early in the morning, so we didn't have to worry about that. And then we were like right in the middle. We were just 2 blocks up from the beach, from the bay, and so we brought food to eat for breakfast and lunch, and then we just kind of walked about a block and a half to carry out, we'd call it, and limit our handling, so to speak, all the rest of the way.
I think your handling, your handling is the same. I think you didn't have to sit with anybody. Although that was before you left. I was going to say, we've had so many changes. We had some breaking news today again.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to say, you were already here when the what's called the closures came down. So you were already in it when you were in Morro Bay. So did you venture off to any public places? I like Jason and I always have to pull you on. We like to find out what you do.
I feel like sometimes we're living vicariously through Curtis.
Well,
yeah, I know.
For the guy who's supposedly the cleanest and the most strict about quarantine, he's the one gallivanting across the countryside.
Right.
He has visited.
That is an interesting aspect of our relationships together, I think. We went to go see the elephant seals, and so that was outside, and we were able to stay far enough away from everyone, so that was pretty good. It's always interesting to see elephant seals up close. All 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of them is pretty amazing, and especially when there's a couple bulls there that are sunning themselves and showing us more than what we normally get to see of seals. You're like, damn, you are an elephant seal. But so we did some of that, and we did kayak one day. But the kayaks, they sprayed sanitizer down on them before we got in, and sprayed sanitizer when we got out. So It was, yeah, it was okay. A lot of sunshine though, which was nice.
So, Joby, what
good
you don't
'cause
realize is
yeah.
that all the photos and videos of Curtis in his kayak, it was actually just in a pool of sanitizer with a backdrop. It was all
I love it
fake,
with some seals,
like
some
Hollywood
seals that
seating.
say superimposed. Did you since this is a drinking show, did you partake in any local treats, any local beverages or anything?
I did try to go to one. There's a new brewery there called Three Stacks in a Rock, and they had just opened up within the last few months. But they're a nano brewery, so really tall. It's tiny. We're talking they're making maybe 20 or 30 gallons of beer at a time. And they had some really interesting looking beers. But when I walked up to it, there were all these people sitting way closer than what they should have been, all over the place, and of course they're not wearing masks because they're drinking beer. So you can't wear a mask. And when I went inside, it was even closer, and then they didn't have any beer to go. So I'll try it next time. I mean, the beer looked. They had some interesting. They had a black IPA, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, that I was
Oh yeah.
jonesing to try. But no. So I brought. Actually, I did a beer run to Casa Agria the day before we left, and then we hit. There's a new cidery in town in Camarillo, and so I stopped and picked up some cider and brought along with it. So kind of brought my own stash.
I figured you
You
would. I
mentioned
thought you would say
Nano
institution.
Brewery.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
that?
You thought you'd take institution with you.
Um,
Don't worry, Joby. In his heart, institution wherever he goes.
So one of the interesting things I learned is that institution is only a mile, 1.2 miles further away from me than Casa Agria is. So I guess I'm kind of
Wow.
yeah.
You're in like a perfect triangle of
I
beer.
am. It's a right triangle, just kind of like this, and so it just depends. So
That's awesome. Maybe we could map it out one day on one of those little run apps. We could actually chart the path between and see how it turns out.
I know. I'm looking at that and thinking, hey, that could be a nice 13-mile run for me to the Casa Agria. Like stop and get a beer, and then run back, hydrate that way.
Yeah,
Might as
I
well.
think you might have to jump. I'm trying to think. You might have to jump on the freeway, Curtis. I'm thinking
No,
you
I
might
can
be
take
running. You might be
No,
running on the freeway.
the freeway would be safer than taking Fifth Street out.
Oh yeah, 50. That's right. That's right. Yeah,
So I
I
think
think you're right.
it would be much safer.
Oh man.
You
So
mentioned
that's interesting
nano
you said that.
status.
Yeah, nano status.
Well, I was just going to ask about for some of our listeners and kind of if you have the knowledge as well, Curtis, educating us about what nano means when it comes to breweries.
It's been so long since I've looked at those guidelines, but a nano brewery is essentially a professional home brewer. I mean, it's you're brewing less than I wish I could remember what it is off the top. I'll take a look, but Joby, maybe you know what the designation
I
is.
was I was trying to remember because you said because we go between barrels and gallons. That's what I was trying to remember. I want to say it's like 5 barrels, which is 10 kegs or 10 half barrels. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Isn't
don't remember quite exactly.
who was
Is
our
that,
local
is
nano brewery?
Brew Lab, didn't they originally open with a three
Yeah,
and a half
Brew
barrel
Lab.
system?
Brew Lab was a nano brewery, and I'm trying to remember if there was somebody else that was a nano brewery. Jason, are you looking it up? Because I want to say it's
Are you,
like
I'm trying to
4 or
race
5
Curtis
barrels.
for the Google.
For the Google.
Well, I did find it on the WikiLeaks, but or Wiki whatever this is, Wikipedia or WikiLeaks.
The
And it just-
WikiLeaks. What kind of information are we releasing right now?
Yeah, that's
I know it's some lowdown, and this one it doesn't give me the size, but it says scaled down microbrewery often run by a solo entrepreneur that produces beer in small batches.
and that's why you can't believe Wikipedia because it's just anybody
Right,
putting the information.
Right. It's
It
but
sounds exactly like what you said, actually.
it kind of does. Maybe I should check to see if I wrote this description.
Late one night. Late one night.
I
like,
can
oh,
do
no.
this. Take that. Just like
A nano
throwing-
brewery is a really small brewery that is smaller than a microbrewery.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad you said that, Joe, because I'm right now looking at justbeerapp.com, and they have a little article where it describes what a microbrewery is. and a microbrewery can produce no more than 15,000 barrels per year. So that's approximately 460,000 US gallons. And then below that, there's a couple other little small descriptions, but below that it says, so what's a nano brewery? A nano brewery is a brewery that makes even less beer per year than a microbrewery.
Right.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
I guess so.
Is there anything smaller than a nano brewery? Because a nano that's really small. So
Yeah.
is there anything smaller?
I'm trying
Is
to
it
think
just
of
guy at home?
what's the name of the brewer? Oh, Brewers Association. There we go. I was like, what's the name of that association for brewers? What is that?
There's a place where a lot of brewers can get together and share information.
Okay.
I was trying to remember who else was it. I feel like Poseidon was Nano or whatever the next. I feel like there's one more between like Nano
Pico
and Microbrewery.
Brewers,
Or maybe it's just a really small brewery. Because Poseidon was like 7 barrels, and that's like 14 cakes.
Yeah.
All right, did I freeze on you guys? I'm sorry.
I think you did.
No, I'm scrolling a little further because they've got some interesting photos on this website, like photos of Olsen and whatnot. But it says a craft brewery and a microbrewery are not the same thing. However, a craft brewery can be categorized as a microbrewery if they brew less than 460,000 gallons. A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square.
So a microbrewery could be a not craft brewery?
Correct.
That doesn't make any sense.
Wait. No. I think it's the other way around. A craft brewery, a microbrewery would be a craft brewery, right?
But a craft brewery doesn't necessarily need to be a microbrewery. Right. I think you're correct in the way you're saying this.
Yes.
Which is
was it Sam Adams?
Right. Yeah. So I was gonna say it's all has to do with Sam Adams.
Sam Adams is the biggest craft brewery.
Beer is kicking in. We didn't talk about what is influencing our discussion tonight and what may be influencing our behavior over time. Joby, what do you got in your glass tonight?
It's what do you call it? I gotta remember the name now. It's LAL Works, and it's called Infinite. Oh man, I'm messing up the name right now. It's a 10% triple IPA. So you hit it right on the head.
Is that why you've been banished outside? That you're drinking a big ass beer?
Don't
bring the show in the house tonight.
And where did you get that? Like, where are you?
I got it. So I admittedly, this is a vintage edition. It's from March. I literally went to LAL Works like 5 days or 7 days before we all shut down. And I got a bunch of cans and we got some kegs for the restaurant. So this is, I think, my last can. And I'm messing up the name, but I'm gonna get the right name for him because shout out to LAL Works. Love those guys, Kip. But yeah, it's tasting really good. I know there's a really famous triple IPA, but this one is really damn good too. There's one that starts with a P, I believe.
Well, you're talking about Pliny, are you? Is that what you're talking about?
That may be the one, a famous one that only comes out once a year.
So I mean, I think that's great, but there was a triple IPA from Moylan's called Hopsicle. Which,
I do remember Hopsicle, yes.
That was by far like one of my favorite all time. And I think at the time it wasn't even classified as a triple. It was still because there was no such thing as
Imperial IPA.
Yeah, there was still no such thing as a triple IPA yet. But it was a 10 or an 11% IPA. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I can see the label now, Moylan's, the church-looking kind of label, and the 22-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to throw in Knee Deep Simtra. Jason,
yes, sir.
as a really delicious triple IPA, especially the 2 hops that they use, which if you didn't know is Simcoe and Citra, and so it's Simtra.
I was just thinking, I saw a local brewery and maybe was it Ventura Coast that just put out a triple IPA. I mean, it's one of our breweries nearby that just released one here last week at some point.
When they're done right and balanced, triple IPAs can be super smooth and deceiving in terms of the impact they're going to have in the flavor. And I agree with you, Joby. The Knee Deep team does a great job with the big IPAs, the doubles, the triples, and the quads. Actually, I mean, shout out to Danny, who used to be our Knee Deep rep. Well, I used to be his client, I guess is a better way to put it, since I'm not with the restaurant anymore.
I don't think he's with Knee Deep, so I think you're good. I think you're good. But one of the things is what I like about them is the color and the flavor profile, right? So you get this really nice, like kind of almost straw golden color. They're not super bubbly, which is kind of weird to say that, but they're not like super carbonated. I don't know. I like them. Every once in a while, they have their place. They have their time and place.
Right.
And this show was very appropriate for it.
And it's hard to get those 11% beers carbonated. Like those, there's so much alcohol in it that it's like for whatever reason, those bubbles just don't stick.
Yeah, Curtis, what are you sipping on?
Well, I'm doing Institution because because it's close.
You got to dance with who brought you.
I think, Jason, I think Curtis might have a side deal with Institution that we don't know about.
At some point, we have to explore whether or not there's fund injection.
Institution
My favorite.
IPAs. On
I know,
the
it's just a
Bones,
little
on the Bones
coincidental.
IPA. It's really good on a hot day like today. You should pick yours up. They're now in 4-packs for $18. Grab and go.
Next time Curtis comes on, there's going to be Institution Neon like right behind him on to his left, our right.
Yeah.
It's
I'll
like,
be wearing one of their flat brim trucker
yep,
hats.
flat brim coming next, and then the T-shirt. It's like, what are you guys talking about? I just really like them.
Right.
And it'll be like a new refrigerator behind him or something with taps. I'm like, wait a minute, where did all this new gear come from? Well, Genevieve got a raise at work. Genevieve got a raise.
I love it. I love it. It's
Sean Smith just kind of happens to walk back behind me. Oh, hey guys.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's at your house dropping off a cake.
So,
everybody.
So yeah, I went back to Institution. I had a week off and I drank some Casa Agria. Now we're back.
I love it. You went all the way to Morro
Do you
Bay.
think you switched to Casa Agria because the check bounced during COVID?
Right. Like I got a layoff. No, it was just like Institution hits on my credit card the whole way down. Like you look at the it's the only thing I buy anymore. It's like, what are you doing? I can drink my way through COVID, I guess.
Even the credit card start questioning his spending
I
habits.
know.
Like, wait a minute,
They're,
sir.
Wait.
Fraud alert.
Right. You were just there 4 minutes ago. Are you sure you want to buy another one?
I know. Jason, you look at I don't want to guess, but there might be IPA in your if it is an IPA in your glass, then we're 3 for 3.
It is an IPA. I ventured out. So I've got customers for work up in Santa Barbara. And last week I took a little stroll just to try something different. And I been playing with my cameras. So we're going to switch over. And I'm rocking right now the Night Lizard Live Forever IPA. And I may work my way through at least one more of those cans, if not both. So Night Lizard right now tasting great, super crisp, got a little grassy, foresty note to it. But Ventura Coast brewed up what they call their Tap 9 series. And every Thursday they release a new beer on Tap 9. This week was Pineapple Pale Ale, released this past Thursday. And I'm digging, as you guys always know, and make fun of me for, because I'm living on the light end of the spectrum, but it's really Pilsners, lagers, and pale ales. And for some reason, the addition of pineapple just sounded really great. Had one over the weekend, really nice and balanced. It wasn't cloyingly sweet. The pineapple wasn't overpowering. And I actually think it complemented pretty well. So yeah, we might introduce that one in the glass and then after the break.
Well, I'm looking at Facebook. We got Tom Hilton talking about Sierra Nevada, which I just saw. So like their bullet, whatever it is, double bullet, no, whatever.
Torpedo?
Anyway, no. There's one that's called Bullet something, which is their double, but they just came back out with
Hot
their
Bullet, I believe.
Hot Bullet, but they also have a triple, which is Optimum or something like that, which is like that 10%, which is
one of my favorite logos for a beer. It actually has a guy in the suit, and his head is a hop cone. The Optimum logo is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sierra Nevada just released a throwback label for the original Pale Ale,
Nice.
which is like the first original label that they ever had, I guess, when they came out. So that's pretty cool. Same recipe.
I think you've made it when you get to that mark, though, because I mean Doritos and Hostess, all those big brands, they've done vintage labels. Cereals have done it, so I think that actually shows you've arrived again.
Yeah, I did read a comment that said by putting throwback to 1988 on it, then you're kind of like making it not look like a throwback. So I don't know. There's a little criticism on the interwebs because on the top
everybody's
of the
always
bottle,
got to throw shade.
I know. On the top of the bottle, I guess it has a big thing that says throwback to 1988, and so they're like, "Well, it's not really like original label, man. Like if you have a throwback on." So these days, dude. Hey, everybody's a critic. Everybody's a critic.
Everybody's a critic. These youngsters, they have no discipline these days. No respect for anyone above them.
I know it wasn't some old grumpy guy from that drank a Sierra Nevada in 1988. You know, and he's just like he wanted to buy a 6-pack. But when's the last time you had a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale? Have you guys had one lately?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I stopped buying their mixed 12 packs a long time ago. I'm trying to think. It's been at least 5 years, if not like 8 or 9. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Like
I
if
think
you go
last time I
shopping,
had
you
one
just
was
pass-
with Steve
yeah.
Brown.
There you go. You just pass them on the shelf, Curtis, if you're going shopping, or you just like, Sierra Nevada.
Well, you know,
Well,
I
you
used
don't go
to,
shopping. You just go to institutions. So.
right. If they had, if
Get that check.
if they had produce, then it'd be golden, right? Well, I was thinking. I mean, one of the things that I would always do is because I would buy Sierra Nevada the mixed 12s because they would end up with like Ruthless Rye, which I really loved.
Oh,
and
yes.
then they would put
Ruthless Rye.
and then a couple other mixes in there, and then they became like 4 of Pale Ale and 4 of Torpedo, and then there were 3 beers split up between 2 other labels, and I'm like, that's not what I want anymore. So
Yeah.
I went through it. Jacob Bassa was just talking about too another knee deep one, which was No Seeds and No Stems, a triple IPA. Do you know that one? I don't know this one.
I have not had that one.
Hmm.
It sounds like a knee deep. It sounds like it. I mean, knee deep. I don't know. I don't think they have a bad IPA.
That's the mad scientist sort of
Mad scientist.
right.
So they have the Hoptologist, which is a double IPA. It's a little bit malty but delicious.
Yeah.
And that's a great label too. And they have Breaking Bud, which was the Breaking Bad one. That's a great label too. They definitely put a lot of work into the labels and then didn't they have a black IPA? I think they were one of the last ones I saw. It was like Midnight. I don't remember what it was, but Knee Deep is really cool.
I hadn't.
I'm going to pull a couple of.
Go ahead, Jason.
Go ahead, Curtis.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm going to pull a couple different lists. After the break, I want to get into the top 50 beers in the world, but that's from beerinfo.com. But since we're talking about triples, I also just pulled up their top 10 triple IPAs brewed in the United States. And we got a couple interesting ones on here. Number 1 is actually listed as Lambda from Melvin Brewing out of Wyoming.
Oh, Melvin, yeah.
Yeah, and then you run down the list. Everything else is Pliny the Younger, Dire Wolf from Alameda, Optimum from Sierra Nevada is number 4. Double Populous for Pike Brewing out of Washington. Simtra sitting in at number 6. 120-minute IPA from Dogfish at number 7. The Green Bullet from Green Flash. Ruin 10 IPA from Stone. Yeah, and then Hop Fetty from Star Hill out of Virginia rounds out the top 10.
Ruin 10. I remember that one.
I was looking at actually the Melvin, or the one from Melvin. I was looking to exchange a keg for my kegerator out of over at Bevmo, and they had some from a couple IPAs from them that I could get, and I thought, ooh, I might just do that. Now I need to.
Melvin does a nice job with IPAs as well, and with the triple, this category is marked as having at least 9.5% and upwards of 65 plus IBUs. But the range, as we've talked about, can go anywhere up to 17, 18% alcohol.
Yeah, I'd say the 120 is not fair to be in there. That's almost quad / strong ale, because it goes like 15 to 18% or whatever, the 120 minute. It's good beer. And when it's fresh, it's super hoppy.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd be interested to have it. It's been so long since I've had that. I remember liking the 90-minute more, but I had the 120 at GABF one year, and it was poured by oh shoot, now I'm losing his name. What's the brewer's name?
Sam Calagione.
There we go.
Sam Calagione.
Yeah, and it was poured, and it went through their Hopinator or whatever it was, the hopped infused thing.
Yeah.
So it was a special beer to have. I mean, I still remember
was it good?
that. But
it was special.
It was special, but like when you pour through a beer through that much hops, then it just comes out foam, and so then you have to wait forever for it to settle down. But
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruin 10. It's funny. I haven't heard that one in a long time. That was a special edition Ruination that was like once a year, right. And I used to love Ruination, but now then there's like Ruination 2.0. It's all different now.
Mm-hmm.
But Ruination as a double IPA was one of my favorites.
That was a great beer. It was.
That was a great beer. Stone was such a dominating, brewery, and so it was like Ruination, Ruin 10. We talked about the Black Sublime and Self Righteous. And now I feel like Stone has a new beer like every day. It's just you can't even keep up with.
They got a lot of money and a lot of places to brew those beers, so they can pump them out quick as you can drink them.
That's true, but I do feel like it's like all the time. So, top 10 IPA, top 10 triple IPAs, top 50 beers in the world or in America.
Yep, I'm getting ready to send you that list, and I think what I would like to do before I get too much more beer in me on this round is to send you guys this list. We'll take a quick break and review it and see which of those beers on the list we've all shared or experienced together. And then Curtis, Joby, we're going to spring a couple things on you because Curtis has a couple top 50 lists as well that I think will bring some laughs and entertainment to the masses.
I love it.
We've been rolling along, and for tonight, anybody's watching, we don't have a special guest tonight because the three of us can be special enough as it is. And we're going to keep celebrating our 50th show throughout this evening and see where this lovely beers and conversation takes us.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Happy Hour. We'll be back next week with more questionable content, great guests, and drinks all around.